Part 3. The Socialism of Grades. The inherent vice of capitalism is the unequal sharing of the blessings. The inherent blessing of socialism is the equal sharing of miseries. Winston Churchill. Socialism is a terrific idea in theory. Who would not want everyone in society to have a house with a white fence, the job of their dreams, 2.5 kids, and a dog? But plain vanilla socialism has failed every single time it has been implemented, and it turned each of those countries into a totalitarian state. Cuba, the Soviet Union, Yugoslavia, Venezuela, the list goes on. In a socialist state, success is pushed down and failure is elevated. This is how equality of outcome is created. In the Soviet Union's version of plain vanilla socialism, we were taught to hate the wealthy and empathize with the poor. This empathy was easy for us because everyone, with the exception of the tiny ruling class bureaucrats, was poor. Capitalism does not offer the sexy, utopian promise of socialism, but it works in practice. Capitalism has lifted billions out of poverty, but it is now under threat, ironically, from those who have benefited the most from it: academics. Universities have been among the biggest beneficiaries of the wealth created by capitalism. As I am writing this, I am reminded of Margaret Thatcher's "Socialism is a great idea until you run out of other people's money." Universities used to be Spartan gyms for our minds, places where opposing ideas collided and gave birth to new ones, and where our thinking got challenged through healthy debate. This growth came with a healthy pain, the type that accompanies and stimulates intellectual growth. Today, many universities have been turned into day spas, where for $300,000, a student's mind will be pampered and coddled. Now they are safe places from opposing ideas, which are considered as microaggressions. This is where free speech goes to die, unless it calls for the genocidal extermination of Jews. Then you can speak your mind. College administrations are afraid to upset their spa customers. Sorry, I meant students. They are not focused on challenging their thinking, the point of education, and producing the brightest, but are instead fixated on making students feel better about themselves and giving them their money's worth. I was not surprised to learn that socialism is slowly poisoning our universities, but I was surprised by its new avenue: the socialization of grades. Professors at a local law school are required to grade to a B+. When professors submit their grades, if the average is below a B+, the system will reject it. The university is afraid of making students feel bad about a low, albeit deserved, grade, and wants every student to have a high grade point average upon graduation. However, what is inflation for one group is deflation for another. This practice punishes hard-working students, as their work may result in a lower grade than they deserve, compared to classmates who are preoccupied with attending TikTok University during lectures. Universities are on a quixotic mission to right a wrong. They are fighting against grade inequality. This is what socializing or equalizing outcomes look like. In fact, this seemingly innocent practice of equally high grades has the familiar ring of a Karl Marx slogan that I heard endlessly in the Soviet Union: "From each according to his abilities, to each according to his needs." Law students need a B+, so they get a B+. With each graduating class, our capitalistic, equal opportunity society is being slowly diluted by equal outcome dogma, socialism. Grade inflation is happening in virtually every college across the country, but colleges should not receive all the blame for this, as unfortunately it starts in high schools, which are suffering through super grade inflation. Grades have gone up while reading and math skills have fallen, with minorities experiencing the largest grade inflation. Bad or deserved grades are a necessary part of education. How else would you know that you had not learned something as well as you thought you did? I failed English as a freshman in college. I had been in the U.S. for 2 years. my English was objectively horrible. I'm glad I didn't receive special or woke treatment for being fresh off the boat. I studied a lot harder, retook the class, and passed it my senior year. If I had not, my English would not have improved, and I would not have written several books or received national awards for writing. The beauty of the Declaration of Independence is that you are guaranteed the pursuit of happiness. You are given an equal chance to pursue it. You are not guaranteed the outcome, just the opportunity. There is enormous value, and yes, even happiness and meaning in the pursuit of happiness. This pursuit will often take you down a harder road, but it will result in the best version of you and bring a sense of pride and accomplishment. Part 4. How to Save America and Israel. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. October 7th awakened me. It changed my relationship with Israel, and this country of my ancestors became dear to me. But as importantly, it opened my eyes to the decaying of the country that I love, that has been my home for 32 years, the U.S. The U.S. is becoming a laughingstock of the world, deservedly so. We are still the strongest democracy in the world. People still want to move here, but we are resting on the laurels of our past glory, which was achieved by elevating meritocracy and excellence. Our successes and our grocery stores full of food have gone to our heads and are turning us into a society focused only on pleasant outcomes, independent of how much work we put in. We are a society that is losing its pragmatism. We used to be a country of practical, innovative problem solvers, and now we are turning into a country of useful idiots, where a tiny woke minority leads us into self-immolation. Israel will not exist 50 years from now without a strong U.S. I have to fight for the U.S. It's a two for the price of one type of deal. A strong United States that supports Israel is mandatory for Israel to survive. I learned an important lesson from longtime Berkshire Hathaway Vice Chairman Charlie Munger, who recently passed away. I have been attending the Berkshire Hathaway annual meeting since 2008. At these shareholder meetings, Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger would sit on stage in a giant sports arena and answer questions from shareholders for 5 hours. Buffett would usually have the first chance to answer the question, and then he would direct it to Munger. If the question was controversial, Buffett would go into a politician mode and give a non-answer answer. Munger would say what he really thought and didn't care if his answer upset someone who disagreed with it. Buffett was shackled by the fear of public opinion, while Munger was free. Munger said, "I think that one should recognize reality even when one doesn't like it. Indeed, especially when one doesn't like it." And thus he told the truth because it mattered more than someone's hurt feelings or criticism of him. Buffett was afraid. Munger was not. The most important thing is that we should stop being afraid. This is how the loud minority gained their power. The silent majority, that's most of us, is afraid to speak up and is thus being accused of bigotry or racism. We are afraid of being canceled, and in the process, we stay quiet while the woke minority is killing our country. Fighting against antisemitism and the woke cancer is one and the same fight, as we are fighting the same enemy. I cannot tell you how much I did not want to write this essay, but I had to. I could not write anything else until I darkened these pages with my thoughts. I realized I can no longer have tunnel vision. As my son Jonah reminded me, with great power comes greater responsibility. Yes, this is the time to fight. Each of us has a different role in this fight, and we all have different strengths. Israelis are fighting Hamas. Some of my friends have gone to Israel and joined that fight, lending a hand wherever it's needed, farming, cleaning, feeding soldiers. I have another Jewish friend who was never involved in politics. He told me that after October 7th, he realized, I won't need money in the concentration camp. He is now contributing to opposition campaigns to replace anti-Semitic politicians. If you are a donor to universities, work to defund those with DEI departments that are promoting racism and inequality. Redirect your money toward universities that promote free speech, the ones whose objective is not to coddle our youth, but to challenge their thinking. If you want to change society's future, change its universities. We all have special gifts. Use them. Fight for what is right while we still have something to fight for. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing to my weekly newsletter on investor.fm and leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to this episode.